Hey, I'm Jan, and I want to show you today why I prefer Cloudways as my web host for all the WP Mastery websites and the other websites that I run. So for that purpose, I've just logged into the Cloudways administration interface, and you can already tell that it looks pretty different compared to, say, Bluehost or HostGator or whatever. And the reason is that the technology is drastically different, and that's probably the biggest benefit of Cloudways. As you can see, it says server right here. So I'm not on a shared web hosting. I'm not sharing a web server with hundreds or thousands of other websites, but I have my own virtual server. So I rent a small space in a cloud, which is then called a server. And on that server, I have certain stats. So for example, I have 30 gigabyte of web space, which is plenty unless you're hosting videos. And I can have as many WordPress installations as I like on this server. So that's a pretty good feature. I can also specify where the server is located. So below right here, you can see it says region, and then it says Frankfurt, which is a German data center because I'm in Germany and I like to have the data stored in the country that I live. You obviously have plenty of regions to choose from depending on where you live. And this might look a bit different, but there's nothing really to do here after you logged in. So it's not your standard cPanel that you're seeing right here, but don't be intimidated by the different design. There's nothing much you can do here in any case, unless you want to see this tutorial on how to migrate more than one WordPress websites to Cloudways. So that's another big benefit that I see in Cloudways is they have hundreds or thousands of tutorials, and those tutorials are really helpful. And I'll show you what I mean by that just in a minute. So for now, let's click on Manage Server. Now you can actually see a bit more. So you can see a more detailed summary of what server I'm using. So I have a 1 gigabyte RAM, I have 30 gigabytes of disk size to store data upon. The cloud provider is DigitalOcean. That might be interesting for you to know when you are deciding to switch to Cloudways and when it's coming to selecting your the cloud provider. I'm on DigitalOcean, and I really love it. Other than that, here are my master credentials that I'm obviously covering in this video, so I don't want you to see those, of course. And then afterwards, what you can see is statistics for the server usage. So those are pretty interesting. For example, in the last 1 hour, there was one phase where the CPU of my web server was used 100%, which is not good, because that means that there was so much traffic on the website the server could barely handle it, or some other function was going on, taking up 100% of the server capacity. So I have to take a closer look on this one, but I also get an email when these things happen. So that's a pretty good functionality as well. Rather than where other web hosts, like Bluehost, for example, I've seen it on recently, they just throttle your website and your users start to see errors. And this doesn't happen on Cloudways. There's no throttling, but instead you get this very detailed reports. And as you can see, you have countless of statistics to go through and to choose from. For example, the free disk report shows you how much space you have left on the server. And as you can see, I have almost 24 gigabytes of space left, even though I run multiple websites on the server. I think I have around 7 on this server particularly. So it's really, really helpful. Another thing that I love about Cloudways is the vertical scaling. So what this means is if you notice that your website is starting to load slower and slower, and you notice that the traffic is going up so much that the server can't handle it anymore, what you need to do is you need to select how many page views you get per month. So I'm between, I have less than 30,000 at the moment. And then what you need to do, you can just click on recommend and then click on update server size. So what that means is that Cloudways in the background automatically gives you more power so that your website can run as fast as you're used to it. By the way, talking about loading speed, moving to Cloudways reduced my loading speed by 100%. So I went down from 4 seconds to 2 seconds loading speed, roughly. That's a pretty good measure, I think. And there's more to Cloudways, like managing all these services, which I don't really use at all. I'm hosting with Cloudways for 13 to 14 months now, I think. And I haven't touched this section more than once or twice in this time. So there's really, even though it looks different, there's nothing much for you to do in this administration interface. When it comes to setting up WordPress initially, though, what you want to do is you want to go to the application management tab and say, for example, you want to install a new application. So let's see how we can do this. We can just clone an existing application. Oh yeah, that's because I have a multi-site installed right here on this website. So I have all the domains that you can see right here managed through Cloudways, and all those are in the multi-site install. So there's not much for you to see right here, but if I were to install another WordPress, I would just clone this application and I would have a second multi-site install like that. So it's really easy to install WordPress on Cloudways. And when you're moving to Cloudways, what you can just do is you can give them the credentials to your current web host and your current domain provider, and they'll just move the site over for you. So you tell them what's a good time for them to move the site, because there will be some downtime when you're moving to a new web host. And then the Cloudways support team takes care of the migration for you. So let me see if I can show you one of the tutorials, because what you need to know about Cloudways is that they don't host your domain and they don't host your email. So this is WordPress hosting only, or website hosting only. Other than Bluehost or GoDaddy or all these other web hosts that also take care of the domain packaging and the emails, Cloudways doesn't do that. So I'm managing my domains in Namecheap. I'm buying them through Namecheap, and I have my website, my emails set up in Google Mail. So I have this three-part system. I have domains with Namecheap, I have the emails with Google Mail, and then I have the website hosted through Cloudways. And just Googling Cloudways Namecheap tutorial for me brings up this post, how to take my website live from Cloudways. And this is a very good example of a step-by-step tutorial on how to show your website and publish your website from Cloudways. And what you can see right here is they have image-based tutorials, which is pretty good. So they show you exactly what you need to do when moving your website with Cloudways or in hosting with Cloudways. And then if there's, in this tutorial, there's a part that doesn't need to be completed in Cloudways, but with any domain host. They even have tutorials for this other party, for this other domain host. So for example, they have a Namecheap tutorial, even though it's Cloudways. That's a pretty good service, I think. And these images aren't up to date anymore. Namecheap has changed their design recently. But nevertheless, they give you an idea of what you need to do. And since it's all image-based and they highlighted the most important points, there's really nothing that can go wrong, if you ask me. It's very simple. And even though when you have a question, let me go back to the panel right here. You can see that there's this Talk to Us button when there's this is actually a live chat, and they have 24/7 live chat, so that's pretty great. And they have countless links in this live chat already. So if you find you have a question through or about some of these topics, you can just follow those links. Otherwise, you can go with the live chat and just, I'm hiding these obviously, these information, and just choose the department you want to talk to, whether it's tech support, sales, or billing, and start the chat. And they have been very helpful for me in the past. So I really can't complain about Cloudways. They are probably as secure as they can get. So I don't worry about the security of my website at all. I heavily recommend Cloudways to almost anybody who's asking me for a web host. The one thing is you need more than one provider. So say you're just getting started, Bluehost might be the better solution for you because Bluehost also manages your emails and your domain. Whereas if you have a website running already and you want to take it up to the next level and make it load faster and make it more secure and avoid throttling and all these things, Cloudways is just the perfect host for you. I think that's about it. So there's really not much different or not much to do in Cloudways at all. So I'm just managing WordPress through my WordPress backend and not through this backend right here. If you have any questions, just send me an email to jan@wpmastery.xyz, and I'm happy to take care of those and answer those. Cheers!